Behind Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, Kurt Helin hangs out with us on the show. What the hell did we watch last night? We've had an overnight to sort of marinate in this, and obviously I've given my thoughts on it. What is sort of the top of mind thing as you woke up this morning and sort of, sit back and go, wow, that really did just happen?
It kind of was that. I'm like, did we really just witness that? Because I kept thinking there was a moment in the fourth where the Knicks had got it down to 15 and the Spurs made a mini little run, got it back up to 20. And you're like, here we go. Not that they were going to blow it out, but they were going to do the thing that, frankly, we had seen them do all playoffs that they'd done against Oklahoma City, which was act way more mature than their years, settle down, find a way to just, win this. The Knicks were hot. The building was getting warm, warming up. It was 32-11 from that point on, and the Knicks pull out the win. I really have it's just hard historically to put this into context. I think, I texted you last night, led the NBC kind of wrap up story with all the iconic moments, the Kirk Gibson homer, miracle on ice, Jordan's last shot against the Jazz, and it's soccer today, so hand of God from Maradona, helmet catch, whatever you want to throw in. This is in that mode. We witnessed true sports history, a legacy moment that also I think what's getting overlooked a little bit is the Knicks started that with their defense. After playing 6 quarters of terrible defense, they finally started to really clamp down. And that kind of started with OG Anunoby, who wasn't just a hero for the tip-in. He made De'Aaron Fox's life difficult, not just on the epic block, but that kind of threw them off. And Fox is the guy who's supposed to settle them, and he didn't.
I'm asking this question of everybody. I posted on X last night. Is it the greatest comeback in NBA history or the greatest choke job in NBA history?
Yeah, I saw you post that. I'm going to say, if you make me pick one I am
making you pick one.
I'm going to go with greatest comeback, because you still have to make the shots. You still have to make the plays. You still have to not roll over, right? You have to still go, all right, we got this. We can do this. We can chip away at this. We can make it happen. In reality, is it 60-40? Probably. The Spurs did give this one back. And now we'll look at this, and they can be looking at this series saying, if we don't throw the ball off Wemby, if Wemby doesn't throw that pass off the back and we hold on to this, we're up 3-1.
3-1. They could easily be up 3-1 in this series, Kurt.
Yeah, and now they're not. So there is a choke element, but I think you've got to give credit to the team that didn't lose it, that didn't quit, that didn't give up. We've been calling them resilient all playoffs, and it's a little tough to call a team that won 13 games in a row at one point, resilient. Yeah. But that was resilience in defined.
Couple of things for me. One, Mitch Johnson, in the midst of all that bloodletting that's going on, as this lead is with, call a timeout somewhere. I mean, stop the flow of blood here somewhere, Mitch Johnson. Because as much as we talk about the inexperience of the Spurs as a group and as a collective unit of players, so too is Mitch Johnson, who's literally, a season and a half into this thing, couple of seasons into this job. That's one. Two, Mike Brown, the decision to go to Alvarado. For all the things we're going to talk about in this game, his decision to go small in the backcourt with Alvarado and Brunson paid huge dividends.
And Alvarado stepped up, and to his the New York guy, right, the Queens kid, making 8 points in the fourth quarter, hitting big shots, and being what you think of him as. He was a defensive pest in there too, and you needed you were going to need some of that energy. But Mike Brown nailed it. And look, I was with you. I was one of the people at home. The 2 times I yelled at my TV in turn, other than oh my God, was yelling at Mitch Johnson, why are you not taking a timeout? And then the De'Aaron Fox play. But it was inexperience there. And frankly, Quinn Snyder and Mitch Johnson need to go have a drink together this summer and discuss it because they both made the same mistake against the Knicks.
As you sit back, though, on the De'Aaron Fox play, and you hear his explanation, hey, I'm trying to get a basket. He thinks he's got a shot there. Is there anything about it that, in retrospect, now having sat in it overnight, that some of what he's saying makes sense, or is it just that bad a basketball play?
It's still a bad basketball play if he makes it. And by the way, I kind of get what you're at. You're like, hey, man, I can put 2 points on the board here.
It's the guy going in for the touchdown and allowing for the other team to have an onside kick late in the game rather than taking a knee at the one.
Right, exactly. The problem I ran into, the game management issue there, the losing your head, is simply that if he makes that basket, that block came with 11.1 seconds left, according to the official league play-by-play. Yeah. If you make that, then the Knicks get 11.1 seconds, and let's give him, he makes both free, he makes the bucket or he gets fouled and makes both free throws. However you're going to do it. It's a 3-point game with 11.1 seconds left, and the Knicks have a chance to tie. You pull that out and dribble it around and make them foul you, and there's at best 8, probably more like 6 or 7 seconds left, and you get the 2 free throws anyway. And you make it so much harder on the Knicks to pull off what they did. So as opposed to a game-winning tip where, by the way, the other thing, Wemby has to go out and cover Brunson, right? Brunson misses the shot, but Wemby is the contest. He's the reason he misses probably, but he's the contest. But now all series long, if they pulled him out, they were able to crash the glass. They have been able to make plays inside if you get Wemby out on the perimeter, and they did there. Nobody put a body on Anunoby, who comes running in from the 3-point line, and I don't want to take anything away from his effort, but nobody put a body on him.
No, and Wemby, looked ghastly in this game, Kurt.
Oh, completely. And they couldn't go to Cornette. Like, Cornette has just become unplayable, and it's one of those things in the NBA Finals where we're talking about Alvarado coming off the bench and making plays. Mitchell Robinson gave everything he had in this game. He was completely gassed, but he played as hard. The Knicks stepped up in those moments. Luke Cornett's unplayable at this point, and Keldon Johnson, 6th man of the year, is virtually unplayable.
Kurt Helin, Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com. We'll continue the conversation over on YouTube on this game in an extended chat there. Always appreciate you, my man.
Oh, thank you for having me.
How do you live this down?
Oof.
I mean, I just look. I'd like to think that it's just part of the process and part of the growing pains. And they'll still win a championship or multiple titles. For example, if I said for the next 5 years, more titles, Knicks or Spurs, you're going to say the Spurs 100 times, right? But in just that, and it just goes to show you in just 1 year postseason, fluky as it may be, it just might be the Knicks year. And I don't normally believe in sort of, fate and destiny and all this. I don't believe in that. Or karma, because I've opened the door a million times for little old ladies and nobody ever opens one for me. That sort of thing. But it just felt like that last night.
First off, Jason, you're getting to the age where people are going to start opening the door for you and calling you sir. Don't worry, we're close. Second, beyond that, I do think that this is, for the Spurs, I think we will ultimately look back on this as Kobe airballing shots against the Jazz, or the one nobody talked about because he didn't do it in the finals, Jordan getting his head handed to him by the bad boy Pistons year after year after year. Like, I do believe there is a learning curve, and I picked the Spurs because I thought that they were going to be different in the finals, just because they had done this to OKC, and maybe that ended up just more being about familiarity with their opponent. Like, they just weren't intimidated by a team they'd already seen so much. And the Knicks are a different matchup and a different problem, but their inexperience, their youth has shown through in big moments in this series. And it's the first time in this playoffs. It's what I thought would hold them back. The Knicks have become the team to expose it, and the Knicks have been the Knicks have been the team that had to learn how to grind it out and win. And James Dolan is a huge winner out of this, by the way, because he was going to get all sorts of bad karma. You blew and now this. He also was the guy who pushed for Mike Brown over Tom Thibodeau, and that now looks prescient.
Yeah, it certainly does. Anunoby. I was listening to Scott Van Pelt after the game, and maybe he was prisoner to the moment. And Scott's one of my favorite things in all of sports media these days, especially on television.
Yeah.
You know, he is the saving grace of that network as far as I'm concerned. He went kind of deep on the Anunoby thing and said, you know, he's not just becoming a star, he's becoming a superstar, the two-way player, all of that. Is that prisoner to the moment kind of stuff? Is he really emerging as that kind of star? Because I don't still get that from him. I think he's a great two-way player.
Yeah.
You know, I think he does some things really well. But, you know, if we're talking like a big three is he part of the big three that is the Knicks? Like, how do you view Anunoby coming off not just this, but what we've seen when he's been healthy in the postseason?
He's still the number 3, though, right? He's one of the big 3, but he's the 3. And I wouldn't throw the word superstar at him, although he was on my long list of guys, and one of the guys when I was putting together end of season awards, he was on my. Should we consider him for all NBA because of what he brings on both ends of the floor and in his defense? But he's not the lead guy, and I don't think you become look. Brunson's a superstar. Towns has. And justified is not the word I'm looking for. It's shown you why he was a number 1 pick, right? You kind of forget Karl Anthony Towns was a number 1 pick. And this is why Karl Anthony Towns was a number 1 pick, is the plays he's made through these playoffs. But Anunoby is, look, he's risen his star. If he ever buys another meal in New York, the New Yorkers are doing it wrong. But I don't think he's going to be a breakout personality star. By the way, he's so low key. Like, he is just
so almost to a point where I'm like, serial killer vibes. Like, how are you not smiling? Like,
yeah,
it's
always that way. And
wow.
It's funny because they've tried to put him in spots during the finals. They have interview rooms and they put guys in different places depending on, and Anunoby should be he should be in the main room, right? He should be on the podium one, and he obviously was after this game, but he's usually not, only because if you bring him up, most of the experienced media goes, I'm not going to get anything. I'm not. And I have quotes from him last night because he kind of expounded a little, but he's Kawhi-like in that way where you kind of got to catch him at the right moment. He's not really a talkative. He's kind of a quiet guy. I think, by the way, I think that was part of the problem for Darren Peterson this season, is that he didn't come out and defend himself. He's more that guy than the in-your-face guy. And so sometimes those guys get misinterpreted. I don't think he becomes the set superstar, but he also might be all NBA next year because there will be spillover and carry. People will notice what he does, I think, more than they did before, even though what he's doing, well, not to the level of game 4, but what he's done in this series is kind of what he does all the time.
Focus on game 5 back in San Antonio. Does this make it back to New York for game 6? I think it does. We have seen how resilient this Spurs team is all season long, and particularly in this postseason. I think it's getting back to New York for game 6. I've not seen a single instance in this postseason that I could recall where there was carryover. Plus, you get the extra day off with game 5 being on Saturday night in San Antonio. I think it makes it back to New York for game 6. What do you think?
I agree. I wouldn't. Here's the thing. After game 2, after the ugly pass off the back loss for the Spurs, you thought, man, now they're going to New York. And that's when the Spurs bounce back. They do have that resilience, right? That was their best game of the series. Through what was and they had focused better through what was a weird. The players had to show up early. It threw off their routine. Like, everything was just different with that game, and they handled it a little better. So I think the idea that they go home and handle their business, and you mentioned the other part, the extra day off is huge, particularly for Wembanyama, because he's got to play. He's got to play 40 minutes, and he's going to get a little crap for, he got tired and gassed in the end. He's a big man. Like if you're pushing your big man, I don't care if it's Jokic, I don't care who it is. When you get up into those minutes, you're asking a lot of a big guy like that because they just tire out easier. And you got to have a second guy. Frankly, Luke Cornett's about as good a backup center as you're normally going to get. He was great during the regular season. He was great through 3 rounds, and it's just not been enough this series.
Kurt Helin, pro basketball talk at NBCSports.com. He'll be in San Antonio, right? For game.
No, I'm going to be in. I'm going to be in Santa Barbara. It's my daughter's college graduation.
That's right, college graduation. That's right.
If there is a 6,
you'll be in New York.
I will be in New York.
I'm going to call it now. You're going to be in New York because
there's a very good chance I will be red-eyeing out to New York for that game just because of how the timing works out. But my family will wake up. That means my family will wake up to pictures of me with a really nice New York bagel, sending them pictures just to make them jealous.
I will be jealous because I'll be wishing I was in New York.
I'm not including you in the family group text, Jason. I like you, but I'll send you separate pictures if you need them.
Appreciate it. Kurt Helin, pro basketball talk at NBCSports.com. Thank you, my friend.
Take care, buddy.